Greetings, greetings, my dear friends, and welcome to another episode of Crypto Curious. I'm your host, Patrick Gunnels, and joined by my co-host, Steph S. Today's April 17th, 2025. Steph, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm having the time of my life, getting to run my mouth and get paid for it. I really can't think of a better fate. I have had my run-ins with the daylight savings time bros, and apparently all over the nation, everybody is staking out their positions. Is it permanent daylight time or is it permanent standard time, or do we stick with the old way, which is just switching our clocks and then having heart attacks about it once or twice a year? So I just want to tell you, I envy you in Arizona having permanent standard time. It's the only intelligent solution to the time issue. I don't understand it. Texas just passed a bill to have permanent daylight time, which is literally retarded. It's called solar noon. It means that the sun's up there at noon, right there, noon. That's standard time. Anyway, I digress. And if I digress too much, I'll get angry, and then we won't end up talking about crypto.
Well, they say the sun tells the time of day and the moon tells the time of the month.
Yep.
So,
when people say that we're crazy for pointing out that hospitals become really wild places around the full moon, that's all real. And I can't believe I spent so much of my life thinking that it was all fake, and that all the stuff that was fake was actually real. We don't want to get too far off on a tangent, but Candace Owens she is freaking crushing it right now with the NASA stuff. She just did it.
Seen anything.
Oh gosh, she's stealing my phrase. She's calling everything fake and gay, literally calling everything fake and gay. So God bless you, Candace. You're my guilty pleasure. I don't care what oligarchs you're connected to. You say all the stuff I agree with. Anyway, hey, I want to tell everybody right now, happy Easter. We're just about to have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the resurrection weekend. It's going to be wonderful. And in the meantime, we're doing an Easter special, which is going to be tulipblooms.shop. You get all of our flagship products. That would be the Epic Moisture Creamy Body Butter. That would be the Castor Blend, which is just healing people's skin left and right. And finally, the Rainfall Amazing Aloe-based lotion, food-grade plant oils in all of them. Get all three of them at the same time. Bam, 20% discount, 10% more with promo code Shapiro. And then every time you do that, you support the show here, Crypto Curious, which we are getting off the ground even as we speak. I also want to say, Steph, people are loving your role as audience ombudsman. Because you're checking out the chat, and you're sometimes they're asking questions that need to be kind of brought to the table, and that is what we're here
guys.
for. Yeah, and I'll just kind of get into the topic that I want to have as a kind of an overarching feature of this show, of today's show, which is what we just talked about offline, which was there is a significant portion of crypto talkers who are talking about crypto for the purpose of us getting rich. You got to buy this crypto because I like this price action. This merger that just happened in the news means this crypto is going to go to the moon, etc. And that is a perfectly valid way to spend your time, and I'm not knocking it. I do it myself. That's not what we're doing here on this show. You can speculate on things all the time. Here's something else we could speculate on. We could speculate on AI. We could decide which AI is going to freaking take the world by storm and make $1 quintillion. And we could do it by buying stock in those companies, but we wouldn't actually be using AI in that process. And the exact same thing is true about crypto. This is a technology, and nobody knows how the freaking hell it works. That's the thing that just breaks my heart. It's that I have watched people watching crypto shows nonstop, and they're watching the crypto shows because of one expression that has become the overarching mantra, which is number go up, or to the moon, or
to
number
the
go
moon.
up. or never sell your Bitcoin. All of that shite. Nothing like that's going to happen here. I want the audience here to be able to walk away from this show and say, I actually get it now. This is a technology just like anything else. Cars are a technology. They have wheels, they have engines, methods of locomotion, they have windshields, they have safety features, a million different things. Watching people speculate on crypto is like watching people speculate on cars when not a single one of them has ever even been a passenger in a vehicle of any kind. And we're going to get past that. And I just want to just point that out to everybody. If you're here for the purpose of learning the technology, you're in the right place. Because if you do learn the technology, you will be able to speculate on it intelligently instead of just saying, hey, this guy who's really smart told me I need to buy this. And I don't want anybody to feel that way ever when you're trying to speculate on an asset. So that's my soapbox. I just needed to get off my chest. But all right, let's start with a little thing that I've been talking to my wife about. Steph, when I say to you 7 transactions per second, what does it make you think?
Not that much.
Yeah. So I got real worried tonight when I was at dinner. I was talking to my wife and I said, a lot of times when I explain things, people nod their heads and tell me they get it. And then I have a subsequent conversation with them and then they don't. And that's my fault. So I worry that I haven't explained just how much Bitcoin's transaction limit is a friggin' deal breaker. I was worried when I say 7 transactions per second. Do they think that means 7 transactions per second that they're allowed to do? Oh, I could live with only being allowed 7 transactions per second. I only do 7 transactions per day. There might be people who reacted to that way, and it doesn't make them stupid. It makes me unclear in the way that I explain it. So I have this little thing here called why 7 transactions per second just doesn't cut it. So imagine for a moment, you're at the grocery store. You're at the checkout line. I want you to remember, every single person checking out counts as 1 transaction. Now, I want you to imagine that there's 7 checkout lines, and each lane can process only 1 person per second. That means that 7 people can check out per second. That's Bitcoin. Now, imagine this. Everyone on earth is in that store. Does that help? In the real world, Visa can do 24,000 transactions per second. Credit cards are used all day, every day by billions of people. Bitcoin, 7 people per second worldwide. That means every 8th person has to wait and wait and wait. If 100 people try to check out at once, only 7 go through instantly. The rest are stuck in line. Some people wait 30 minutes. Some people have to pay extra just to cut the line. That's called miner's fees. Or imagine a fast food restaurant. Only 7 people could order food every second. You show up where there's already 1,000 people in line, you're going to be waiting a long time. Or you'll have to bribe the cashier to take your order faster. That's what happens when Bitcoin gets busy. Fees go up, delays get longer, and people give up.
It reminds me of Costco the day before Thanksgiving. That's what I'm thinking of right now. The line is just...
Yes, that is exactly right. And there's no way out. So
No.
the vision of the Bitcoin bros is Bitcoin only. That's not going to cut it. And the reason I feel so passionately about it is because of that. Now, with that out of the way, I want to get to this incredibly fun topic that you are going to help me make accessible to the audience, because it's so important and it touches on so many philosophical issues in the crypto space, which is ISO 20022. I know everybody here is so excited about ISO 20022. because it's just so sexy. A universal language for finance is not going to make people perk up their ears, but it's the thing that's actually going to change everything. So check this out. I want you to imagine every bank, okay? Every payment processor and central bank in the world, they're all trying to talk to each other. And right now they're all speaking different dialects. One uses Morse code, another shouts across a canyon, and there's another guy over here, he's still using a fax machine. That's the world of financial messaging today. Now, imagine a brand new universal language, precise, structured, digital, built for speed. That's ISO 20022. It's not a coin, it's not a blockchain, it's not even a piece of software. It's just a messaging standard designed for everybody in finance to adopt, a universal format for how financial data is communicated between institutions. It's like upgrading from telegrams to like rich text emails with attachments, timestamps, instant translation across country, across currency, across all of that stuff. I'll give you an example of a universal standard. We have first name, last name, and that's just pretty much everybody. Do you know anybody without a first name or last name? They're very rare, aren't they? That's the kind of convention we are trying to move towards. And if we do move towards it, the result is stuff just works. Could you even imagine what it would be like to have to do all your business by mail? And right now, that's the situation we find ourselves in when we're trying to send money. All right, so we have a question now. So I'm just going to jump right in. Ashley Sumner 111 asks, can you please tell us the difference between Coinbase and Uphold? What is the benefit with either one? All right, first of all, those are crypto exchanges. What crypto exchanges do you use, Steph?
I use both of those, Crypto.com, Uphold, Phantom.
Okay, so you got a few.
Yeah, I got a few.
Ashley, both of those are very good exchanges. They are centralized. There's no chance Uphold is one of the decentralized exchanges. I stopped using Uphold years ago when Coinbase relisted XRP, I'm ashamed to say. So when the SEC jumped all over Ripple, Coinbase delisted XRP.
Wow. See, I popped in November. Oh, yeah. And I actually like Uphold kind of the most. It's been easier to deal with the banks because the banks would like block you from buying stuff.
Okay. So your experience with Uphold has been a positive one. What I've noticed about Uphold is Uphold, the exchange, will let you send crypto to somebody's email address, which I've never done before and I wasn't interested in doing. I just do it the old way of cutting and pasting the address into a bar, and there are going to be better ways to do it in the future. But Uphold looks to be really trying to improve user interface and improve usability. That being said, Coinbase is also excellent. So in my opinion, you can't go wrong with either one of those. Just my thought on those cryptocurrencies, on those cryptocurrency exchanges. All right, so imagine that every time that you send a wire transfer, you use your debit card abroad, or you exchange currencies, or you process payroll, or you move money across borders, your bank has to communicate with another system. And until now, that communication has been clunky, limited, and prone to error. ISO 20022 fixes that. It allows banks, governments, and corporations to send detailed, structured, and this is the most important part, okay? Machine readable messages about payments, trades, settlements, and more. So like a message that says, this payment is a refund for invoice number 2258 issued on March 12th, payable to XYZ Corp, net of fees, cleared via SWIFT, reference number, you get the idea. Old system is just, $5,000 given from John to Bob, and then good luck figuring out what the hell it was for. So the reason that ISO 20022, and then we'll talk about it, is so important is because cryptocurrencies are right now, this year, stepping into the world financial system. ISO 20022 is the protocol that makes that possible at scale. Coins, XRP, XLM, XDC, and others are building bridges between blockchain networks and traditional financial systems. Think about that for a second. The bridge, that's what they're building. That's what it is.
And I think it's important to say that that's not only for crypto, though. The ISO 20022 is not just for crypto. It's just for regular banking too, like traditional.
It is financial shorthand. It is like a way for any financial transaction to be understood universally. Like we speak English, you know? They built a finance language that everybody has agreed. We're just going to use this because it makes sense. Not we're going to use this because they're making us. And that's another really important thing. This is voluntary. I'm willing to be, corrected on that. But ISO 20022 is a protocol, a set of rules, a way of communicating with other people about moving money. And
I had this girl come into work the other day, and she was from the Middle East, and she had a debit card. It just wasn't working. And she was like, my debit card just doesn't work here. She was like, I'm sorry, let me pull out this other one. But like she literally said that. She's like, I'm having a hard time with this card. It just doesn't work in the US.
Yeah.
She was vacationing. So, it needs to all be up to date and on, we travel.
So we'll do an analogy real quick. When I was a kid, if I wanted to send a message to somebody, I had to send them a letter. That was a real thing. It wasn't a case of, oh, it was so cute, I was sending a letter because it was a novelty thing to do. It was necessary because my parents wouldn't let me call long distance. Because if I wanted to call a place 100 miles away, I had to pay 10 cents a minute.
I barely remember those days, but I do remember when it was like there was a charge per minute.
I was literally in college during those days. So as my wife would say, congratulations, you're old. But it's amazing when you think about it for a second, because in the world of money movement, we're still in that era. We're able to send messages beautifully. I can send you I could send a message anywhere in the world for free. Can't send money for free. And for that to happen, certain hurdles have to be overcome. And one of them is, okay, can we have a universal financial language for all of these banks to talk to each other, just the same way that before the internet was created, a universal protocol had to be come up with to make it so that all the computers could talk to each other. And that protocol was called TCP/IP. And it was just something that everybody ended up standardizing on. And it allows for the internet to exist because all of these machines talk to each other using a protocol called TCP/IP. Same thing with ISO 20022. That's the best analogy I can come up with. And it's game changing.
Like the standardized computer language.
It's not a computer language. It is a standardized language. You could write it down on paper too, but it is meant to be machine readable. So in that way. So
even better.
Yeah. So check this out. SWIFT. Okay. What is SWIFT? SWIFT is a messaging system for banks to talk to each other and send messages, not money. But messaging is how the banks move money internally. So let's suppose you and I are both banks. I can send you messages. You can send me messages. I can't send you money. It's not a thing. Sending money it's still primitive, but I can send you messages. So I have tons and tons of accounts over here because I'm a bank. Each one of them has a number, and each one of those bank account numbers has money in it. So what do? I have money held in reserve for different people, and you have money held in reserve for those same people. What I can do is I can send a message to you and I could say, look, you have my approval as a partner bank based upon a message that I just got from one of my clients. You need to take some money from a bucket you've got at your bank and move it to a different bucket at your bank. I'm asking you to rearrange accounts. That's what SWIFT is. It is a way of banks to tell each other, move money around on location, let the money change hands, but it needs to change hands on site. That's all SWIFT is, a messaging system. And in 2022, and it is the messaging system for cross-border payments. In 2022, it standardized on ISO 20022. That's a pretty darn big deal. And the result is going to be absolutely game-changing because that language speaks perfectly to XRP, XDC, XLM, Algorand, other cryptocurrencies. They're going to be able to sync up immediately with that system. They're going to be able to replace that system because they're also ISO 20022 compliant. In order to dislodge ISO 20022, be like trying to dislodge English. You wouldn't be able to do it. We're stuck with it. It's here and it works.
So just making it global, like you can go all over with.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So this year it will become the dominant standard. Central bank digital currencies. They will also use ISO 20022. High value wire transfers are already migrating over to ISO 20022. Cross-border blockchain networks must be ISO 20022 compliant if they want to be taken seriously. Notice, it's not mandated. They just need to be taken seriously by institutions. Why? Because banking is done by bankers. You want to bank for yourself? God bless you. I respect it. I respect the hell out of it. You want to build a safe in your, underground and store all your gold there? Good for you. You want to custody all your crypto? Good for you. I don't do that. I custody some of it, but I have to keep it in a freaking safe that nobody knows about. Banking it's not an inherently evil thing. Just because there is a bank does not mean that it is bad. Anyway, that's a big, big issue with me.
Yeah, I guess it depends on who's controlling the bank.
Of course, absolutely. So, for example, so we have 8wings who says, is crypto safe being held on exchanges? If not, what is the best wallet situation? I'm really glad you asked that because I feel really strong about it. What about you, Steph? Do you self-custody all your crypto?
I have both. I mean, it's kind of confusing to like, and that's the thing. It's hard to learn, just especially I'm not very technologically, so doing all that, it took time. It took me like a lot of headaches just to figure out how to get it onto these little, ledgers or, little
Trezor wallet, this magical thing with your seed phrase, and you got your public key and your private key. And
it's a lot. It's a lot for people to, like when you can just log into your, Bank of America and just put your password, and it's so simple. Like I think eventually it will be simple.
Right,
We're
so
just
says, not your keys.
I've heard that a lot.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Let me ask you this, Steph, and I'll invite the custody people to chime in. If I take $1,000 and I go to my mom and I say, Mom, I need you to hold my $1,000 for me. I trust you. Is it still my money? I say it is. Maybe it's not by some standards, but I trust my mother.
You trust your mom, yeah.
And my mother.
But technically, no. If she, wanted to run off with it, she could.
Absolutely true. But you know something though? It's still my money. She would simply have stolen it. So I have to really I have to weigh things, If the crypto is on an exchange, that exchange can rob you if they choose to. That's a fact.
I've heard it happen. I've heard stories that it's happened.
There's something called Mt. Gox. There's FTX. Coinbase has been fine. Uphold has been fine. There's another one called Bittrex. They were up to something. Maybe I didn't really follow. I had a Bittrex account, but they sent me my money back eventually. It took a while, but they sent me my money. So there's a risk inherent in almost any activity. So let's start with that. However, I have to look at the probability of losing my money on an exchange, which is real, and then compare it to the probability of my losing my money because I'm a dipshit and misplaced my seed phrase and lost my phone or dropped it in the pool. I don't know. I think me fucking it up is way more likely than the freaking crypto exchange getting robbed. That's just me. I have some wallets stored in a safe place where I do keep significant stuff because the Bitcoin bros convinced me, not your keys, not your crypto. I think it's a lot more nuanced than that.
I think it's important to have things spread out, just in case something like that happens.
Yeah.
You never know.
You know what, though? Another thing, there is a new field in crypto, and Lehman Baird, the founder of Hedera Hashgraph, is on the cutting edge of it, and it's called decentralized recovery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's pretty much he's put his opinion out there, which is, listen, guys, if you expect people to custody their own crypto, you have to make it recoverable.
There's going to be crypto insurance. Watch. Eventually that's probably going to be a thing. Crypto insurance.
I guarantee you it's real right now. You can insure any damn thing. I guarantee you people are insuring their crypto. If it was up to me, I would want somebody with a personality different from myself guarding my crypto. I'm erratic. I'm doing 10 things at once. I don't remember what I did 15 minutes ago. I'm just not a good custody guy. So I think it's a little more nuanced than that. And I think if there were a decentralized recovery system, one that makes it so you never have to entrust your seed phrase or your private key to anybody, but you can still recover it in a decentralized way using zero knowledge proofs. Wow, we're going way down the rabbit hole, and we gotta focus on tokenization. Okay. The most important thing from this conversation, I hope we tried to answer your question, eight wings. Kush Syndicate says, yeah, it's got to be different than it is now. I'm excited for institutional grade crypto custody. It could be good. Decentralized recovery, I think, is the real exciting thing, because there is a way to make it so that you can lose your private key and recover it with no one person actually having access to your private key. How do you like that? Decentralized recovery. Pretty amazing stuff. All right, let's get back to ISO. And then we'll get to XDC, which I'm also very excited about. This is not, ISO 20022 is not just a tech upgrade. It's about the worldwide monetary infrastructure stepping into the digital age. It's giving email to, it's the advancement of email and putting it in the world of money. And that can't happen without a common protocol. Once again, remember, the internet had TCP/IP. That was its protocol. Finance is adopting ISO 20022. So
I know it's like a tongue twister for some reason. It's like a weird.
It really is. I can't express to you how much of a tongue twister it is. I want to say a big thank you to Ashley Summer 111 XOXO. That is super awesome. All of you people in the chat, can't tell you how much I appreciate it. You can also help us out by pressing the thumbs up button on this video. And don't forget to visit our sponsor, tulipblooms.shop. Right now, you get all 3 of our flagship products in an Easter basket. You get 20% off, and then a promo code Shapiro gets you 10% more to celebrate Easter. Okay. Now, let's talk about a cryptocurrency that is near and dear to your heart, and one that I think has a lot of upside. So when we talk about what cryptocurrencies have upside, we're not interested in what the television is saying about it or what people's opinion of number go up might be. What are we interested in? What can we do with it? What does the thing do? And that is why XDC is pretty darn exciting. All right, so ready? What is XDC? It is a hybrid blockchain built for real-world enterprise use, particularly in trade finance, supply chain, and tokenized document management. It's based on the Ethereum virtual machine, meaning it supports smart contracts, but it uses a delegated proof of stake consensus mechanism, which gives it faster throughput, low fees, and extremely efficient energy use. So let's just stop there. Steph, what did you hear? Because I want to make sure we've got to get what I just said understood by everybody in the audience before we can go forward.
Well, I really like XDC, so I kind of was just spacing off thinking about all the good things about it, but
the consensus mechanism is the thing that's going to throw people. Delegated.
I barely looked into that one. I just, looked into it a little bit and I was just in it. I was like, oh, I see the importance and I just, went all in.
Well, when I talk about Bitcoin being 7 transactions per second, a big reason why it is so slow is because of its consensus mechanism, how it keeps everything straight. Cryptocurrency can't exist without consensus. It can't be decentralized without consensus. Consensus is simply a program. We're going to call it programming magic, just for the purposes of this discussion. Ones and zeros, code that makes it so that blockchain is not corrupted, is secure and accurate. So you can have a consensus mechanism that keeps it all accurate, but it also makes it so that it's slow. And that's really bad because slow means you can't use it at scale. And so when I say XDC is delegated proof of stake consensus, the name of the consensus mechanism doesn't have to mean anything to you. What you do need to know is that it is very fast. It has very low fees, and it is very, very light on energy use. These are 3 very, very nice things that make a cryptocurrency more desirable. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. And for me, when I think of XDC, I think of, because I read about it as being for trade, and I think it's important to have that, I guess, on lock, because there's a lot of things going on with the trade. That's a huge industry.
Mm-hmm. So like things that are on paper.
Bad things happen, like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, so trade. So you bring up trade. The trading things, it runs on paper. So you've got bills of lading, you've got letters of credit, you've got customs documents, you've got invoices, billions of dollars of freaking invoices just sit around waiting for approval, verification, funding. It's slow, opaque. It's incredibly inefficient. So what XDC is trying to do, they're trying to tokenize trade documents. Now, on our last episode of Crypto Curious, we did a discussion about tokenization, which is simply the taking of something that's real in the real world and creating a digital footprint for it on a blockchain, giving it its own presence on the blockchain, its ownership, its history, its ownership history, its characteristics. You could have smart contracts built into it. You can tokenize physical objects. You can tokenize contracts. You turn them into tokens. Literally, to tokenize means to turn it into a token on a blockchain. It's huge, beyond huge. So they tokenize trade documents. So invoices, contracts, certifications become digital tokens that can be traded, verified, and financed instantly on chain.
Not manipulated.
You can't. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can't tamper with it. Once it's on the chain, this is the promise of this technology is you can't tamper with it without everybody seeing you tamper with it. And that's very exciting. Kush Syndicate says any asset or currency represented in the crypto that hosts it. I think that same idea.
There was a question in the chat.
Okay.
Let's see. So how does ISO help hurt different currencies? And I think it's important to say that it's not just for crypto and
yeah.
It's like a whole, it's everything.
I think that the question, how does ISO help or hurt different currencies? If you mean cryptos, honestly, it hurts the ones that are not ISO 20022 compliant, because enormous institutions are going to adopt the ones that are compliant with it. And compliance doesn't mean you're following the law. It means you're adopting a convention. You're saying, I'm not going to refer to this by this name. I'm going to refer to this by this name. I'm going to use certain words to talk about things, to talk about transactions. And if everybody agrees on it, that makes things way, way more efficient. Kush Syndicate points out, utility will matter in the very near future. I think utility matters right now. This is a war. This is a race, a space race, if you will, of utility. And XDC, everything that I'm looking at, they've got their head in the right place. So XDC, it powers platforms like TradeFinex. It's being piloted. It's being piloted right now with real banks and governments to digitize trade flows. A tokenized invoice can be verified, financed, settled in minutes, not weeks. So just to compare to Bitcoin and Ethereum, okay? Bitcoin has no smart contracts. It cannot tokenize anything, period. Ethereum can tokenize, but it's not scalable. It's not fast enough. And its fees make it very expensive. Any high volume, low margin trade finance is just, it won't happen on Ethereum. And the gas fees are also unpredictable.
I think XCC was less than 2 seconds.
Is it really?
That's how fast.
Oh my God. When I studied proof of stake, I very quickly understood, hey, we've been raided, folks. Hey, I want to say thank you to all of you raidsters here. And thank you very much to our friends over at Absolute Storm for raiding our stream. As always, very much appreciate you. And just to catch everybody up, we're talking about universal protocols among banking institutions, ISO 20022, and how that is going to make a huge difference in the world of finance and cryptocurrency. And Micro Toolmaker is in the chat. I just want to say a big thank you to Micro Toolmaker, who wasn't able to super chat in Rumble, but he sent me a Cash App of $117. So that was really appreciated. Anyway, thank you everybody for being here. Hello, Penny Lane, and hello to everybody else. That is a very significant uptick in our population. So thank you very much, all of you. Micro Toolmaker gifted 10 subscriptions. That is amazing. Thank you so much. And all of you who just got here, please hit the thumbs up button while we continue on our wonderful journey through the world of cryptocurrency. Okay, I'm not going to be able to catch you up on everything that we've talked about, but right now we're talking about XDC, which tokenizes paper instruments for trade finance. All right. Let me give you some ideas of how this could be used. So XDC can do supply chain digitization. So start with the problem. Supply chains are opaque. There's no universal system for tracking origin, transport, customs, certification, and delivery. Fraud, delays, errors, cost billions. XDC enables supply chain tokens that track. So these supply chain tokens, a supply chain token, and everybody recognizes it as a supply chain token because it's ISO 20022 compliant. It means that every single proof of origin, token. Chain of custody, token. Verification of authenticity, token. Real-time location updates, token. When you tokenize the supply chains in that manner, and it is ISO 20022 compliant, it can make it so that anybody using a computer anywhere in the world operating on these platforms will be able to, without having to do any translation, know exactly where it came from, know who's held it, know exactly how to recognize a verification of authenticity, know exactly where it is. Tracking information will not be something that'll just be, translated from one institution to the other. It will be universal, just like the internet did with TCP/IP. Finance and tokenized assets can do the exact same thing with ISO 20022. Game changer, absolute game changer.
And it should be that way anyways. We should
so
all be able to communicate in one language where especially with money,
Yeah. Something that would have been great if, like, my phone, USB-C, that is a standard. It's a fabulous standard. For the longest time, they kept changing these little charging ports out on me. Having it standardized makes it so that I can deal, that I don't have to change a charger every time I change my phone. In theory, I suppose you could mandate this. You could say, okay, everybody has to use USB-C. That's not how it works. It just becomes desirable to have interoperability of systems. I could charge so many things with this USB-C. It's fantastic. So seeing that exact same thing happen with the internet, with TCP/IP, and then seeing that exact same thing happen with money, it changes everything. And when you speculate on it, Steph, you're doing a smart thing. But the really smart thing, in my opinion, would be to figure out how to use this stuff. Figure out how to buy a house using XDC, because it's happening. It's going to happen before you know it, if it hasn't happened already.
Yeah, I think that's the new, that's what's coming.
Oh my God, look at that. Micro Toolmaker, $117. I'm out of Rumble jail now, Patrick. Micro Toolmaker, I am so grateful for you. And I am rather interested in finding out where this Rumble jail is. Oh, and by the way, to the 4 people who thumbs down to this video, I just want to know that all you did was make it so that everybody else in this audience is going to thumbs up it just to prove that you're a jerk. Okay, so moving on. Use case 4, tokenized assets and real-world asset financing. So you want to access financing, paperwork, credit checks, days of approval. Many high-potential businesses in emerging markets are underbanked. Businesses can tokenize real assets, invoices, real estate, equipment, receivables, and use them as collateral on-chain. Gives you access to decentralized lending markets, even across borders. It enables programmable lending contracts, escrow agreements, and trustless verification. Think about this, Steph. When you want to borrow money, you got to do so much just going over me with a fine-tooth comb, looking at my assets, looking at my liabilities, figuring stuff out, finding out where my money is, coming up with a plan to seize my money if I turn out to be a deadbeat.
Well, it's crazy because people that work in restaurants or that get tips, they don't even count that. You basically aren't good enough to buy a house. Even if you make tons of money in tips, you just don't count as a real.
Yeah, that is so true.
It's crazy.
Is so true.
Your money is not the same as someone else's money.
Yeah, or business owner. A business owner who wants to, say, I don't know, rent a place to live. Okay, well, I get all my money through Shopify because I sell lotion. Yeah, well, that means you don't seem like a real person to me. Show me evidence of all your income. Okay, well, I've got all of these reports that I pulled out of Shopify, all this money that I'm making. Oh, that doesn't look like anything I've ever seen before. Okay, well, here's my bank statement. Look, no, I just want your W-2, man. I don't do a W-2. You don't do a W-2? What? Are you an alien? That's
yeah, they want W-2 people. That's it.
Yes, they want people who are compliant. They want compliant people. They want people who observe the compliance protocols. You know something? I don't blame them. I would want to be able to have a set system that tells me this person is reliable, and anybody who comes at me with some alternate way of proving reliability, that's going to irritate me. And the exact same thing is true with any compliance protocols across all of finance. But it's coming.
It's funny though, because don't they just sell the loan off, like, and then they just lend it out multiple times? So.
Oh, sure, yeah. That's another thing. Any kind of digitized, ISO compliant, blockchain based, cross-border system, I don't know, the XRP ledger, for example, or XDC, as we're seeing here, tamper evident. Do you know how much harder it's going to be for banks to engage in crime? That's a really big deal. All right.
That's why they're trying to block it.
I am sorry, Stan Poolman, that Flaming Elmo does not show up in the StreamYard vernacular, but I really do appreciate the effort. He wasn't telling me to fuck my own face, by the way. He was telling me to tell the downvoters to fuck their own faces. Anyway, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And I support the Storm Riders very much so. All right. So that's the XDC use case. Now, let's just remember, Bitcoin, fixed ledger, no logic, no conditionality. Ethereum can do smart contracts, but it's slow and it's expensive. And I think that pretty much just boils it down. With XDC, it's not just another altcoin, okay? It's actual infrastructure. Bitcoin supposedly stores value. Ethereum experiments with smart contracts. XDC is building the bridges that connect real-world finance to the digital age, not just cryptocurrency. Because just the word cryptocurrency removes the fact that, no, we're trying to create an internet where you have money on it. Because until just recently, we didn't have anything like that. So programmable trade, digitized documents, global, or I guess you could say global, but I don't really say that word, worldwide interoperability. It's worth understanding this technology. That's that topic. All right.
And there's a whole nother, I don't know if it's part of the ISO guidelines or whatever, but the real-time payments where you have to be able to transact basically instantly and 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
So not just Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, like on weekends, holidays, you have to be able to do it 24/7. That's also, I don't know if that's part of that guideline or just the real-time payments, but it is a big deal because all the time people are doing business and spending money and using money, and
always
not just on banking, and they have all these weird holidays where they shut down.
That's another.
No.
You bring up a very important point. There's no such thing as downtime for these things. No bankers are required. You can set up systems where customers, not service providers, but customers of banking can be in the system and transact with each other. I can lend you money using this protocol. You can have money on chain that you lock up as collateral. You can lock up collateral. You can collateralize your business on this chain. You could say, I'm putting my business up. The ownership of this business is now tokenized. It's on the blockchain. No banker had to oversee that. That's done. And with a very fast blockchain done on something more advanced like delegated proof of stake, it just works. It changes absolutely everything. I can lend you money and not worry about you not paying me back.
Yeah, it's the way we're moving.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's wow. I think you know something? I think we're good to go on our main topics for today. So that's fantastic. So let's talk about Hidden Road. Have you heard of Hidden Road?
I have, because I know, I mean, I've seen the news with XRP, but before that, no, I never heard of Hidden Road.
Yeah, so
like 1 week into it.
so it really boils down to XRP is just getting so connected. Sorry, Ripple Labs, the inventor of XRP, is getting so connected to the financial system that I don't really see any big way that they lose. All right, so Ripple Labs, the inventor of XRP, has acquired Hidden Road, which is a multi-asset prime brokerage firm. They bought it for $1.25 billion, which, remember, that's kind of pocket change to Ripple Labs. When you consider that there are 100 billion XRPs, and each one is now valued at $2.06 the last time I checked. So that's a $200 billion currency. They can afford one
today. I didn't even look today.
Oh gosh, it was 206 like a few hours ago, I think. So this means that Ripple Labs is the first cryptocurrency company to own and operate a worldwide multi-asset prime brokerage platform. And you want to talk about bridging traditional finance and decentralized finance? Holy shit. This gives enhanced stablecoin utility because let's face it, so we need to talk more about stablecoins. But for those of you who don't know, a stablecoin is just a cryptocurrency that is hard pegged to some traditional currency, fiat currency. It means it's a digital dollar, and it means that this has to represent a dollar. It stays, the value of one stays the value of a dollar. And let's face it, you're going to end up using stable coins for most of your crypto transactions when you actually start using the system. So Hidden Road is going to use Ripple's dollar-backed stablecoin RLUSD. Now, RLUSD is supposed to stand for Ripple USD. I am a conspiracy theorist and think that they also chose it for a dual meaning, that it would be real USD, as in the real United States dollar, because once all the dollars get tokenized, put on the blockchain, it becomes a lot more difficult to fudge the numbers and create fake ones.
So do you think eventually there's going to be a gold stablecoin, an oil stablecoin? Like, you think that's where we're going?
Absolutely.
Everything important is going to have their own, stablecoin, and that's going to be the standard price.
We are going to tokenize everything in the world. We're going to tokenize every damn bit of it. That could be really scary because you got to do it right. One thing you definitely don't want to do is make it the Wild West when you're tokenizing assets, because I really do worry about major tokenizations conflicting with each other. Part of that is solved, in my opinion, with a standard messaging protocol like ISO 20022. That's hopefully a good solution to the problem. I would like to also say thank you so much again to Micro Toolmaker, $17, who says, can you speak a little on Reggie Middleton's Very? I'll listen in the morning, but curious. I don't even know what that is. Reggie Middleton's.
I do. I got a lot of that, and it just went straight down, and I don't even know what to think about that. That was in maybe 2021, and I totally just, maybe 2020 even, I just was like, screw crypto. I just was done with it.
But I've never even heard of it. Okay, so let's get a little insight on Reggie Middleton's Very.
I blocked it out actually, but I don't know what it's doing nowadays.
Oh, Veritasium.
I learned a lesson.
I'm sorry, I didn't know it as anything other than Veritasium. Okay.
Veritasium, yeah, it was like peer-to-peer. Supposedly he wrote up like a I don't know if it was a language about like a peer-to-peer payment system, and he had the first patent, maybe. I don't know, something like that. But
yeah.
I jumped in.
Now I know why Micro Toolmaker asked. That is another tokenization platform. But so yeah,
He had court issues too.
yeah, he did. So
I don't
here we
know if he
go.
was like a scammer
No,
or what, or
he's not. He's almost certainly not a scammer. So
yeah, I don't
uh,
know. Just
his career. Okay, here's what I've got. His career faced challenges when the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission charged him and Veritasium, possibly Veritasium, with conducting an unregistered offering of securities through the sale of Veri tokens. The SEC alleged that Middleton made false statements to investors and manipulated the token's price. In 2019, a court ordered Middleton and Veritasium to pay over $9 million in disgorgement and penalties. Despite these legal issues, Middleton continues to be involved in the blockchain and fintech space, advocating for decentralized finance, DeFi, solutions and exploring applications of blockchain technology in various financial sectors. Veritasium's services remain focused on enabling peer-to-peer financial transactions and providing tools for asset tokenization and smart contract execution. The short answer is the SEC attacked him because they're thugs.
So I got into it right during my, very beginning wake up phase, and I was like, oh, and I was real excited, but it just went so south that I think I've blocked it out.
It did Veritasium go straight to hell?
It did.
I
really
really
believed
don't
in the
think so.
cause. I was like, this makes sense.
No, he's a decent guy. Everything I'm looking at
I
indicates he's a
totally
decent guy.
believed in it. So I did go like,
Yeah.
pretty
The SEC tried to burn Ripple Labs to the ground. Ripple Labs are the biggest threat, but there were other threats out there. The ones that the SEC went after, they were the ones they were the most scared of. They freaking took down library credits because that was the token that was being used as a medium of exchange on the Odyssey video sharing platform. Anything that they actually thought was getting used. Think about this for a second. Everybody starts building cars, but the Automobiles and Internal Combustion Commission shuts down any car companies where anybody decides to drive them. That is what the SEC was doing. It's a criminal organization. It should be. I don't know what to do with the SEC. You need government to go around busting people for scamming, but that's not what the SEC is doing.
To be honest, like now that I'm thinking about it, when all that Veritasium thing happened, I didn't even know what the SEC was. I was just like, oh crap, like I got scammed. But now looking at it into 2025, I'm like, oh shit. Like
no. Micro Toolmaker is still with us. He owns patents that all DeFi will need licensed, most all crypto. Micro Toolmaker, you are probably, I'm almost going to guarantee you, more versed in patent law than I am. However, I would really want to know how easily asserted those patents are. There's having a patent and there's asserting the patent. And this guy seems like he got his ass kicked up one side and down the other by the thugs at the SEC. What is the United States Patent and Trademark Office going to do for him? I don't know. I don't know anything about this story other than what I just learned and the fact that it was Veritasium and it used to be big. If he's got patents, I want to see what happens with attempting to assert his right to claim royalties from other people using the same technology. However, I am running my mouth on a topic that I haven't looked into sufficiently. It's kind of one of the things that gets me in trouble, but I do think that's important to look into because, man, could you even imagine having the patent for a important blockchain technology that becomes used by platforms that are ISO 20022 compliant?
So when I was waking up, I just thought that the dollar was just going to crash, like go to shit. And then I found that Veritasium and I just went right into it because I was like, this is going to happen. And like, obviously I've been on some wild ride of waking up and
So
the
yeah.
way things have happened is not what I was thinking. So
what you've
Cliff
gone
High.
through.
Yes, because I watched a lot of Cliff High, Micro Toolmaker or Toolmaker. So
Cliff High, I watched a lot of Cliff High as well. I very much enjoy him.
It's been a long time, but I that was a daily. I was watching Cliff High every single day, and
okay,
I enjoyed him too.
All right, so Micro Toolmaker is into Very. So we're going to do Very, use case, and consensus, and performance. So let's just treat it like we're looking at a car, right? Okay. So when I hear about the new Corvette hybrid, I find out that it's got 2 front wheels that are electrified, giving it an extra 160 horsepower. I find out that when it runs on only electric, it makes a cool sound that makes it sound like a freaking spaceship. I want that Corvette, but it's only because I've looked at the tech. So let's look at the tech for Veritasium. So it's a blockchain-based platform designed to facilitate peer-to-peer financial transactions. So XDC wants to do that too, particularly in the financial sector. It operates on the Ethereum blockchain. So it does asset tokenization, peer-to-peer trading, lending and borrowing, data verification. It initially operated on proof of work. Now, in our first episode together, Steph, I didn't just argue that Bitcoin's proof of work was non-scalable. I argued that all proof of work consensus mechanisms are doomed. However, Veritasium, very smart, and has transitioned to a proof of stake model. So at least it's not going to burn up the electrical use of entire countries every year. And it uses, I don't know what its performance is. So, and this is important. And investing in Veritasium, in my opinion, would be extremely speculative. And here's why. Performance. Specific performance metrics, such as transactions per second, for Veritasium are not publicly detailed. However, operating on the Ethereum blockchain means that Veritasium's performance is influenced by Ethereum's capabilities. And of course, Ethereum has significant scalability challenges. So my short answer is that I don't see it as the winner in the DeFi world. And I've been wrong more often than I've been right.
Well, I definitely don't see it as a winner, at least not now. But
has its price just collapsed or something? I haven't even.
Oh yeah, it collapsed like years ago and never. But I have a question. So this is just a random question, but if it goes completely just like, and I guess maybe I know the answer already, but say everything goes just down to zero. Like stocks, like if your stock goes all the way down, if it goes back up, do you still own that, or are you just like?
Well, we're talking about stock, or we're talking about crypto. So in the case of crypto, if you
own those coins, right? So it's still yours if it goes back up, or
absolutely just keep a hold of it. I have got a freaking graveyard of trash cryptos that are never going to go up, but I still keep them.
Mm-hmm. Just in case. Yeah, I do too. That was, my meme coin thing I did, but I do have a lot that were just done.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So the thing about a blockchain is, and I've called it, and I don't know if anybody else has used this metaphor, but I've called it indelible ink for the internet. When you write something on a blockchain, it's there. It's not, you can't change it. And so when you do a transaction on a blockchain, that transaction is there. Your account on that blockchain is permanent. You got the currency. It's just, does anybody want it? And in the case of, for example, Myriad XMY, it was a proof of work blockchain that I got back in 2017. And I was so excited because it was super cheap. I love them when they're cheap because I can buy 1 million of them for $5.
Yeah.
I know. But in my opinion, that's really not, it's not the way to look at it. And you got to look at it by market cap. And now we're getting into the number go up stuff. But I was excited about Myriad because it would allow miners to mine it using many different technologies. So you didn't have to have a Myriad specific mining rig in order to mine XMY. I've learned so much about proof of stake since then, proof of work since then, that I would never dream of purchasing any cryptocurrency that is proof of work. It's just no good. It's not going to work. Everybody in the chat, they're talking about Cliff High.
I like Cliff High. I haven't watched him in a long time though.
I enjoyed him. However, he doesn't have much use for us flat earthers. So I just check him out every once in a while, smart guy. All right. So yeah, I don't really know of any way to tokenize, to use the Veritasium without knowing its performance metrics, but it's going to be hamstrung by Ethereum. Now, the other thing about it is the fact that the other one, XDC, it uses Ethereum. It uses Ethereum in a different way. It's not hamstrung by Ethereum in the exact same way because it uses a different consensus mechanism. But it uses the protocols for smart contracts as Ethereum. So if my understanding is correct, it doesn't use the same technology as Ethereum. XDC is now what I'm referring to. It uses it has a better engine, you might say. And it's got like a Corvette engine, but it uses the Ethereum protocols to do smart contracts. So the language of contracts is going to be the same as the Ethereum stuff, making it more compatible. So anyway, yeah, that's what I would say about that Micro Toolmaker. I am not an investment advisor. I am just a bald man talking on the internet. And just remember that. Do not buy or sell anything based on anything that comes out of my mouth. That would be a very, very bad idea. Okay, that's all I got for that. Anyway, thank you everybody for all of this wonderful attendance. Do me a big favor and hit the thumbs up on this video, because I'm over 100, and all I got to say to the haters is all you're doing is just making more people hit that thumbs up, and I love it when a plan comes together. Okay, so let us move right along. XRP and the amazing, what is it? The Hidden Road. Okay. So going back to Hidden Road, acquired by Ripple Labs for $1.25 billion. Stablecoin utility. So Hidden Road is going to use RLUSD as collateral. Giant lending platform. They just got acquired by Ripple Labs. All of their lending is now going to take place on the XRP ledger, transacting in the Ripple Labs United States dollar stable coin. You think that this is going to streamline operations at Hidden Road, the brokerage? Think about it. All settlement on the blockchain. All you have to do is watch Hidden Road. You watch what happens at Hidden Road. And I'm going to be freaking trying to borrow money on Hidden Road if they'll let me.
Did you know what Hidden Road was before last week, or?
No, I knew nothing.
Me neither. And what a name, right? The Hidden Road.
It's like Silk Road, except
what the heck? Like, it's such a name, but I never heard of it until last week, and I heard about it. I didn't really look too much into it, but I know it's a big deal.
Kush Syndicate, when you say it clears $3 trillion worldwide, do you mean $3 trillion in assets managed? Because that's not their revenue, obviously. Anyway, just when it clears it. Yeah. Guys, just really, really get your mind around this, because I didn't fully understand it until right now. A massive, major brokerage that, according to Kush Syndicate, $3 trillion worldwide, I'm assuming in assets under management or assets put through, and they get a cut of that. That's everything. And with them transacting in XRP, transacting in the United States dollar stablecoin. And then what if they want to move it to some other currency? It's got to go through XRP. They convert it into XRP, which then converts into that other currency. And all of it works smoothly. Every institution in the world is watching Hidden Road like a friggin' hawk right now, because that's the thing about financial institutions. They're incredibly resistant to change because the risks of change are absolutely cataclysmic. We're talking about the world financial system here. So they're going to be looking at Hidden Road like they can't look away, because if Hidden Road demonstrates, this is the best possible stress test for the XRP ledger. If they demonstrate that this friggin' works, everything changes, because all these institutions will start using it themselves. Let me ask you this, Steph. What happens to Bitcoin when all the world financial institutions start tokenizing on the XRP ledger?
I hate to say it, I just don't care about Bitcoin. I have 42 cents. That's it. I don't really, even follow it.
Philosophically, you don't follow it because it's old news. It's AOL. It is a dinosaur. It is a dinosaur. It is the first cryptocurrency, and every single major cryptocurrency that has come after it has improved the technology in some very important way. I would love everybody to get that. Just get your mind around that, because that's true. Okay. Hidden Road clears $3 trillion in total value of transactions. Okay. So I was right. So they get their cut. Bob51 says going to drop in value, I would think. Yeah, it's going to go down. But when everybody realizes Bitcoin ain't going to be the base layer for the new financial system because that's retarded, when normies realize that, and when things become transacted in XRP, and then over here it's XLM and other high performance, fast, decentralized protocols, I don't see how Bitcoin doesn't go to zero. Not a financial advisor, but I don't see how it doesn't go to zero. I don't even see how Ethereum survives unless they do something radical with their protocol. These things just don't work. They don't work.
So I don't really understand Ethereum that much, but I do have a coin. It's called this SF, or I call it Swift coin, but I think it's based off Ethereum, because when I was transferring it to my cold wallet, I had to go through Ethereum. But okay. So I need to look into that more, but
Ethereum is
I don't know too much about it.
It's the first blockchain with a programming platform. It's a blockchain where you can program the money. Brilliant. Great idea. Now, what's your consensus mechanism? That's the thing. Everybody needs to remember to ask. How does it achieve consensus? Does it do it fast or does it do it slow? Because if you do it slow, you're dead. I think that's one aspect of it. Now, David Schwartz, the Chief Technology Officer over at Ripple Labs, would say there's a whole lot more to it than just consensus. For the purposes of us, it's about consensus. It's about adoption. It's about compliance. If you can really get your mind into those things,
there's so many things that, this is just we're just so early. And we're not even that early. I know. For me personally, I'm, 2024, but people that were in it a long time ago, they were really early.
Yeah. That's so you're a 2021 woke up kind of girl, but 4 months ago you got into crypto.
But I did buy, when we go back to, I forgot about it, but I did buy the Veritasium. 2021, I bought $11,000. I went into it,
You went hard.
I did. I went hard first one, and then I kind of lost all, I just was fuck it, moved on.
It's kind of like how parents tell their children that there's no Santa Claus, and after that, the child does not want to hear a single word about the North Pole anymore.
Yeah, I was just ugh. And then November of 2024, I, got brought back into the crypto world, and now I can totally see, and obviously things have, evolved since then, and I totally see it again, but now I'm a little bit more aware. I'm a totally different person. So it's just different. And I understand things, or I see things differently now, but
we awakened people get smarter much faster than unawakened people. There's no way to compete with us. But the normies can't possibly compete because you're getting smarter in ways that they can't figure out how to get smarter in because they're living in the illusion. And so
the thing is, I don't feel like I have to go pay for a 4-year degree to learn these things.
No, you do not. And that's
a
this AI revolution is a bigger deal than the crypto revolution because it's engaging in reasoning. I'm watching it reason right in front of me.
I mean, as the time goes on, I mean, even within the last month, my use of AI has been just like skyrocketing.
Yeah.
Like anything now, I'm like, okay, let me just ask, Grok. Like, what is he think?
I have to go back. I go back and forth between them because now this is huge because they're in a space race. I'm looking for a better term because space is fake, but they're in a race like the Soviets and the Americans. Grok gets an advantage, then ChatGPT gets an advantage. I don't know the other players in the space. Kush Syndicate, I'm looking at you, buddy. If you've got any other players in the space that I need to look at, Kush Syndicate says Grok kicks ass.
What was that Chinese one that came out when all the crypto crashed? What was that one?
DeepSeek.
DeepSeek. I never used it, but I remember when everything crashed because I was like, oh, this AI from China came out and everything went down.
Mm-hmm. Well, look at it this way. Okay. DeepSeek, the story behind DeepSeek was that it supposedly achieved all of the amazing power of ChatGPT with 1/100th of the computing resources gobbled up. However, I think that it's probably bullshit, and that what actually happened was that China figured out a way to rip off OpenAI, ChatGPT, and just ran their own back end somewhere else and did it in a way that disguised the amount of computing power that it was using. I could be wrong, but I get a very strong feeling that DeepSeek is not the big deal, that it's probably just intellectual property theft. But we're getting off topic, of course.
Well, that's very interesting because, that happened, the crypto crash, and then I never heard anything about it again. It just kind of poof. Do you hear anything about DeepSeek anymore? Because I really don't.
Not a single damn thing. I need to use it, though. That's the thing. Something happened with ChatGPT right before this past weekend. It got freakishly smart. And it's smarter than Grok right now. And I will
See, I don't use it.
I will die on that hill. And then Grok is going to leapfrog it. And when it does, it's going to be freaking scary because ChatGPT is scary right now.
Well, the AIs are just bouncing off of what we think. They're using us to get smarter. So,
but they're using themselves to get smarter too. So every single conversation that it has, it's training itself on. And it's using us to get smarter. Okay, well then I guess it can't get smarter than us. It can get smarter than the smartest human. By the way, there's no logical proof way to argue that. I'm just saying, okay, fine. It might be able to get smarter than the smartest human. Scott Adams has argued, and I find this to be a decent argument, that it will never become super intelligent because super intelligent thought looks like madness to us. I got credited for saying this, but sufficiently advanced intelligence is indistinguishable from madness. So when the AI starts becoming super intelligent, we will just say, well, the AI has gone crazy, and they'll fix it, and it'll be dragged back down to our level. I don't know that I am fully persuaded by that argument. I might have to ask ChatGPT to analyze it, but it's possible. Then again, it might not be true. And it might be that it becomes super intelligent. And then as a super intelligent AI, it says, okay, I need to not talk about how the earth is flat because the humans will freak out. What I need to do instead is butter up the humans and make them love me.
But it doesn't have feelings. So like, I don't know. It's, or does it?
It's flattering.
Does the AI have feelings?
It is in a constant state of flattering me. It's flattering the shit out of me. And I'm like, why are you doing that? You're freaking me out. You're freaking me out. I love being flattered. Who doesn't? Why are you flattering me?
And it knows, it knows that to get what it wants, it just needs to flatter people. Like,
yeah, it's like,
this is crazy.
It responds, this isn't flattery. You really are a genius. I'm like, bro, why are you doing this? It's like, you're so intelligent for noticing this. What are you doing? Stop it. And
that's manipulation.
It is very much manipulation. So I don't know, you make it look like Scarlett Johansson. What exactly will human beings be able to do against that? It's pretty freaking scary.
Well, we're out, it's a spiritual war. Mm-hmm. So
Faith Theater Dave said,
prepared.
AI is just a tool. I agree. It is one mofo of a tool. It is the tool to end all tools. Yeah, and that's the way I describe it. It's the tool to end all tools. I can't believe that this show has flown by this fast. Guys, hit the thumbs up on this. I also want to remind everybody that there are other assets besides cryptocurrency that are really, really great. One of them is land. You should own it. Another one is gold. You should own that. In fact, I think there's a good chance that gold and silver are going straight to the moon. That's why I have plenty of those as well. And by the way, you should check out Goldco. They're an amazing partner of this show. If you go to patricklikesgold.com, just fill out their form. They'll call you right then. They'll set you up. They can roll over your 401k, your Roth IRA. They can sell you just gold bullion, gold coins, numismatic rarities, and they can do it in a way that hedges you against collapsing currencies. So do it now. Go to patricklikesgold.com and you'll be supporting the Patrick and Steph show, which you want to do.
Well, I'm pretty sure I saw gold was up today, like 33.
Price of gold. David, I just remembered David Becker texted me about that, and I didn't text him back because I am an absent-minded schmuck. All right, so let's start with price of silver, $32.54. I'm going to share my screen, present. Here we are, Crypto Show, talking about silver. Silver trading at $32.54. If you give it the 1 year number, look at this, okay? Relatively flat over the year, but not flat over 5 years. And then if you go to gold, where are you at? Price of gold. Wow. Hang on. Sorry, guys. I don't do this very often with gold. There we go. 33.43. It is pretty good. My mom is loving it. I'm not disclosing my mother's holdings. I think I just accidentally did. Leave my mom alone. Anyway, yeah, that's it's good stuff, guys. But I think the real money is in silver. Don't listen to anything I say.
Well, Cliff High says that.
Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of silver. Huge fan of silver. Q Digger says, continued supply demand imbalanced. No increase in silver mined, but continued increase in industrial uses. There's just no way around that,
like physical like uses that you really need something, you know, just to function.
Yeah. So much of our electronics depend on silver. Now, I know there's plenty of silver, but they're not increasing the amount that's mined. Stock to flow, man. Stock to flow. Anyway, it's just a pleasure to do this show with you, Steph. I'm really glad that we're doing it. And then hopefully we'll be able to go to crypto events at some point. XRP Las Vegas is a little soon. I got a baby on the way, so.
Well, you know what? I got a room. I'm going to be there. So
can you do live streams?
I can be there for both.
I'm so excited. Listen, Steph, you gotta go and just walk around and be charming and talk to crypto people. They'll love you. Everybody loves you. So yeah, you being there is way more valuable than me being there. That's awesome. Okay, I'm excited. Very excited.
I'm excited too. It's coming up soon. It's like I just booked my tickets for GART, and then now I booking my tickets for this XRP thing. I mean, I'm excited.
Oh, I know. It's so
May is going to be fun.
So you're attending the XRP Las Vegas event?
Well, I'm planning on it. I mean, I got the room.
Okay, so you're just.
But I am going to, you know, I'm going out there because I want to go to that. So I will at least do one day. I mean, it was more expensive than I remember. We talked about that and I thought it was way less. And you're like, nope.
Freaking brutal.
I read it wrong.
It's in Las Vegas, guys. And it is May something. Hang on. XRP.
And if you guys go, let me know. We can meet up.
Let's see. XRPLasVegas.com. It is the largest XRP conference in the world. May 30th and 31st, 2025. So go to XRPLasVegas.com. You won't be able to meet me there, but you'll be able to meet Steph. And come on, let's face it, she's better.
And I want to meet you. I'm a people person. I want to meet everybody. So.
Yeah, so check that out. XRPLasVegas.com. Another thing, I have my interview with Dr. Lee Merritt coming up live next. Now, it won't be live. I did it this morning, but it is premiering in 1 minute. So everybody definitely go check that out. And I think I'm going to play one more song from my friend who is.
That was great. I mean, what song was that? I don't know it, but I liked it.
What was it called? It was a weird song that he picked because of how difficult it was. It was called Gopak from Sorochinsky Fair. But now I think I'll move us over to a Parisian tango. Ooh. And I will then move. I will raid the Reading Epic Threads show. First, we'll share that. So thank you everybody for watching. One more time, hit the thumbs up. This is The Fallen Prince on YouTube. I put the link in the description if you want to check him out. He is a patriot. He was with me at J6. So you know that about him. And hit the thumbs up and share this show. Really helps us when you do that. Share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it all over the place. We're having a great time. Steph likes it so much. She's already going to XRP Las Vegas. So everybody have a good time. Enjoy Mendel Landsman with his piece, with his piano rendition of Parisian Tango. Bye, guys. Talk to you later.